And that's how I won $10 from a homeless man. What the hell?
Nightmare at Camp Bloodbath. Totally love this because I love the 80s horror films. And this is such a throwback. I mean, just the title alone, Nightmare Camp. And the fact that they said it was October 13th, Halloween night, made me laugh. I was sitting there going, wait, when's Halloween? It was really funny. I loved this. It was such a throwback to the 80s horror movies. Sleepaway Camp, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. But I just loved it. Loved the Walkman, the music, the costumes, just totally making fun of the scenes for, I mean, I love the making fun of this because it's like, you know, they're sitting there fighting to get around, you know, around each other, or she's trying to get around him, he's trying to get her, but it's so silly because it's like, well, he would just kill her already, right? So I love that, like 5 hours later, they're still doing this. So great. Love the scene in the kitchen too. Just all of it so reminiscent and so well done. To bring me back to those 80s horror films that I love so much. And just great job with this. I think there's a lot of stuff out there that makes fun of, you know, horror movies. I guess I can't think of the name of it right now, but the other franchise, you know, that makes fun of the horror movies within the movie. And I thought this was great. It stands on its own. I'd love to actually see more, either more shorts, just like as a series, or make this more, I think this stands on its own, but maybe like more shorts, even different themes. I really liked it. Great idea, very creative, good writing. So good job to everyone.
This film is called Nightmare at Camp Bloodbath. This was a really good horror parody. The lead actors were so entertaining. They were having a lot of fun, you could tell. The writer did a really good job sending up the classic jump scare scenarios. I love the choreographed moves with the monster, the hooded killer. The music was also an over-the-top version of horror soundtracks, which really worked for the comedy. Perfect camp setting too. Loved the hilarious, terrible rendition of Kumbaya at the campfire. Nightmare at Camp Bloodbath. Great job.
So the first thing I want to say about Nightmare at Camp Bloodbath is the homage to the three main slashers. You see that from the Nightmare on Elm Street, Camp Bloodbath. Crystal Lake was always referred to as Camp Blood. And then the fact that it takes place on October, Friday the 13th, and October being the month of Halloween. That was just me gushing about those three nods to three iconic slasher films. But that actually segues to something I really liked. It was a very funny parody of the slasher genre. It was a love letter in a sense. I'm a big Friday the 13th fan, so all of those references I saw like that. I'm sure I missed a lot of the Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street ones, but case in point, they actually merged two of them together when the slasher punches the camp counselor's head off. One that's a nod to Jason Takes Manhattan, and then the hands coming up is a nod to the original Friday the 13th. When spoilers happen, but I love that there were a lot of Easter eggs within this one. Again, it very much felt like a love letter to the slasher films of old, and all in all, I very much enjoyed it.
Nightmare on Camp Bloodbath was like entertaining and fun, and like, you know, a nice satire. You know, it used the tropes of both like horror and comedy, and it blended them all together. I think like the couple, the counselors couple, like they were both pretty funny, had some good one-liners, and yeah, I think it was solid.
So this was fun. You know, it's always good when filmmakers are able to, you know, use limited resources and take like, you know, one location and just three actors for the primary part of the film to create a movie and make a story happen. So and they've done just that here. They've put a little style on it, and that they're doing a kind of a satire of 80s slasher films. So good job there. And everybody was funny. There was some good gags, and wonder what happens to the other campers there. We'll have to hopefully maybe tune in for another episode to find out. So good job with this. Hope it does well for you.
The location, production, and costume design set the tone for this campy horror comedy from the get-go. If you've ever seen movies like the Hatchet franchise, they go into it with the mindset that there's these horror tropes that you have to follow, but you also have to have fun with it. And when he's in the kitchen with the killer and they're having the sequence where he's turning around hoping to catch someone, and the killer just steps 2 steps right behind him, we get to see the humor in that, and to the guy getting murdered with the girl jamming with the Walkman, also another humorous bit. The 5 hours later bit, the slipping on the banana and dying, having nothing to do with the killer himself killing her, to he's really not dead, to the beheading sequence. This is really pulls it all together. For me, for comedy writing, you really have to pack in a lot of humor in a small amount of time, and the pacing of this was just really done really well. I think the jokes hit right when they should have.
Alright, I just finished watching Nightmare at Camp Bloodbath, which I thought was actually a very clever and sort of informed deconstruction of classic horror comedy concepts. I thought I had a real appreciation both for the horror genre and sort of a style of comedy that would fit in this type of aesthetic, and it really had the lead actors in particular really had a great sense of timing and rhythm between each other that allowed the piece to really flow and have a great pace, and was very easy to get into. I thought they had a great dynamic, and I felt like all the sequences with the killers and the monsters really worked out really well, and made you sort of always laugh, while also relying on jump scares and moments that you would expect in this piece. I thought that the ending and the strange Kumbaya song at the end was quite memorable, and I felt like the cinematography in particular really captured the mood of a horror concept, while also leaving room for the actors to sort of establish their personalities and their styles of comedy in a way that really left a lasting impression. So I thought it was a good piece and a clever piece, and I think that's why I ended up enjoying it.